What is going on, guys and girls? It's Ghost Robo. We are here finally for my 200,000 subscriber special video, which is my game collection. This has been requested for a very long time. I've been on YouTube now, like over a year and a half, and have not ever shown this. Partially because I never had it organized, partially because I wanted to save it for something special. But this is the 200,000 subscriber. Thank you. A little bit late. I apologize for that, but we get it. And the biggest challenge with the game collection is, like, where do you put it? I'm sure you guys run into similar things, like where do you store it? Do you put it in boxes? Do you have enough shelf space? Do you just stack them up in a corner? Do you keep them by your games? Do you keep them by your room? Do you keep them by your TV? Where do you keep them? And I've always struggled with that. And I finally found a way to organize them alphabetically in a beautiful fashion. And so we're going to go through some of my favorites. We're going to go through all the different things on here. I've tried to put a good amount of stuff here. Let me preface this by saying that, as I'm sure with a lot of you, I did not save all my games for 90% of my life. I was always selling them to get new ones. So even if I loved BioShock and wanted to have that memory with me, I would sell it so I could play something else. Or if I had a great memory of some SNES or N64 game that me and my brother played, and I knew we weren't going to play it, but I just wanted to sit on the shelf to have good times, I couldn't really do that. I needed to sell it so I could get new games. So my games that I currently have are basically what I've been able to keep since I was an adult. Otherwise, a lot of my stuff has been sold, sadly. I remember being at Funko Land a very, very long time ago and dumping my entire NES collection and the NES. I kept the NES because they were going to give me 1 penny for the NES. But dumping a lot of my NES collection to upgrade for some Super Nintendo games, and I desperately regret that decision. But it's one of those things you do as a kid, and it happened with so many games, especially in the N64, PS2 eras. I really just had so much turnover. Even guys at the beginning of the 360, PS3 Wii cycle, though, I was constantly exchanging games. Like I said, BioShock, one of my favorite games of all time, but I sold it, unfortunately, because I wanted to play other things, and that's kind of how it went. I'd buy a game, beat it, sell it. So what you're seeing is a fragment of what I've had, but it's what I currently have. So we're going to start with some consoles. The only limited edition console I have is the Modern Warfare 3 console. It's very, simple. I just thought it was super cool. The design is very fun and nifty. Normally I don't buy special editions or special edition consoles just because it's a lot of money. And it's like, why do you need something when your white or black Xbox works perfectly fine? But if you do have, like, when I've had opportunities to pay a little bit more, I do like having some collector's edition stuff. And that's why I have some of these fun guys and statues here. This is the Batman Arkham City statue from the Batman Arkham City Collector's Edition. We have the Little Big Planet 2 Sackboy from the Little Big Planet 2 Collector's Edition. We have Iron Man, who is not from any Collector's Edition, but he's just awesome. We have BioShock from the BioShock 1 Collector's Edition. This one was very hard to acquire. I got BioShock early, way before our YouTube, obviously. I just found out that Toys R Us was selling it early, went and got it, and the Collector's Editions were all sold out. So my mom helped me. We drove all over town and finally found one of these on launch morning and dropped the money for the awesome and sharp Big Daddy statue. We also have the Skyrim head here with removable crystal thorn flash drive, which I kind of think is kind of cool. I have a random paper crane. I have the Darth Vader, or not Darth Vader, Darth somebody, I don't even know his name, my bad. The guy from Knights of the Old Republic Collector's Edition. He's actually a big statue. I also have the Halo Reach statue, and I have the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood Doctor pop-up, but they're both too big for my shelf, so they're not here. I have a Mario Kart Mario that I won actually at a mall Mario Kart Double Dash contest. It was like whoever could win X number of races in a row got a poster, and I won the requisite 3 courses in a row, and then I ended up winning like 5, 6, 7. I said, if I win one more, will you give me one of the little Marios? And they're like, yeah. So I won and got a little Mario. I have some random other figurines here. We've got Peach, we've got Toad. We'll just shift these guys to the side. I've got a tiny Stormtrooper, Buzz Lightyear in a cone, creepy weird thing, and creepy Miss Piggy. And we'll move from there on to a random iPhone case that probably shouldn't be there, but consoles, handheld consoles. My PS Vita. This is actually a Japanese Vita. There's no difference. It's exactly the same as the American Vita, but I imported it before it came out. Unfortunately, I don't have any of my Game Boy Advances. All that's remaining of my Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance era is this DSi. It is a nice teal blue DSi, and probably my favorite handheld system. It's so smooth. I love the finish. I think the camera, even though I never use it, adds a cool touch to the outside, makes it not so boring, and I just really like the layout and the buttons that this system has. I had a Game Boy Advance, a Game Boy Advance SP, a Game Boy Color. Unfortunately, I don't have those anymore, but I do have a 3DS, the lovely Midnight Purple 3DS, which I'm starting to really like a lot more than I did when it launched, which I didn't really have a whole lot of fun with back then. I still have my PSP from the crazy PSP days, and this system was always weird. I feel like it's built so flimsy, and at the same time, it's a cool system with a big screen, but compared to like the Vita, it just feels so basic. What else we got here? We got some random things, an old iPhone 4, 3 iPods that I proceeded to break all in similar fashion. All these either went in my pocket through the laundry or in my pocket in a bathing suit in the pool, and none of them function whatsoever. Moving on to some pins from E3. These are actually kind of really cool. They were pins given away at E3 for some of the Nintendo Land Wii U games. Luigi's Ghost Mansion, Zelda Battle Quest, Donkey Kong's Crash Course, and last but not least, Animal Crossing Sweet Day. But now on to games. Now on to games, because that is the thing that you're probably here most for. Those are sort of my extra stuff. I have peripherals as well. I have some Guitar Hero controllers. I've got the keyboard. I've got the drums from Rock Band. The keyboards from Rock Band 2. I don't really have anything else besides those. I'm not really sure. But I have a few remaining Game Boy games. So we've got the legendary Pokemon Red, which is my first handheld game I ever purchased in my life for Game Boy Color back in the day. I've got Mario Kart Advance Tour, which is a fantastic game for Game Boy Advance, and Metroid Fusion. I have a few others, but I couldn't find them. And along those lines, I brought out one N64 game, which is NBA Jam 99, because I think it's a goofy cover, and Crash Bandicoot 2 for PlayStation 1, because it's all taped up and really a complete mess and falls apart when you open it. Didn't really take good care of games when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. I have a lot more PS1 and N64 games somewhere. I can't really find them all right now, so we're just going to go with basically the modern stuff, which will start with my 3DS collection, DS collection, PSP, and Vita. There isn't really a whole lot notable here. I am going to bring out, just to show you, this M18 smoke grenade that my brother made for me so kindly. And I'll bring out a Japanese version of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and a Japanese version of Hot Shots Golf 6, as well as the American version, so you can see just kind of how those differ. Very slight difference in the boxes, but these are probably my favorite boxes of any console. I really like how small and tiny they are. They're very cute. They're very like good for shelves, and they're not like too small. They just kind of fit perfectly. It's kind of a painstaking process to add games to these shelves because I try to keep it all alphabetical. But as I'm sure you can imagine, it gets crazy when you add one game and have to change the entire layout of everything. So we've got a handful of 3DS games here. My favorites being Kid Icarus Uprising, Mario Kart 7, Super Mario Land 3D for sure, and Resident Evil Revelations. DS games, I had plenty more, but again, that was my era of selling to rebuy, so these are only recent ones. Really like New Super Mario Bros., really like 999. I sold a lot of the stuff I really enjoyed. PSP, never really had a whole lot for PSP. I downloaded some stuff on the system, same with Vita, but I really did enjoy Metal Gear Acid a lot. I really liked Loco Roco 2. This is actually an import of Loco Roco 2 that I got before the game came out. My parents got it for me for Christmas the year it released in, I believe this is an Australian version? Something like that. Yeah, Australian. It's an Australian version. And I actually do like Rock Band Unplugged a lot as well. So that is Pokemon Conquest. What? That's a weird one. So that's my handheld collection that is shrunk a lot. That suffered probably the most from game drain, as I like to call it. But we'll move on to 360, which is probably my biggest collection as I move all this stuff back to its shelf. I'm sure you guys have the most of the current system, or that's kind of what you keep, and that's been the same for me all throughout. So we have everything alphabetical here. And I started to try to save, because I really like saving games. I really like having them. I think it's a very cool thing to collect, our video games. I think they are more fun to collect than stamps or Pokemon cards or whatever, because you can actually do stuff with them, and it's always fun to go back and look at them. And I'm not going to lie, it's a cool thing to like have on your shelf. They're all different looking boxes. It's just cool. I like it a lot. So just kind of go through and pull out any notable ones. Let's see, what is this? I don't have Assassin's Creed 2 anymore, which is the only game I've ever 1,000 on 360, so I was going to pull that out. But instead I'll pull out my Batmans, which I really like Batman quite a bit. Going through, you know, I have a wide variety of everything. Catherine, one of my favorite games of last year, one of my favorite walkthroughs I've ever done on the channel. We have our Requisite Connect stuff, Dance Central. I'm kind of not the greatest at that. Me and my brother have some pretty epic battles, though. Dead Space 2, great game. Nothing else really unique here on this shelf. The Fallout Game of the Year edition, I don't know, I just think it's kind of fun to see what I got here. Down here you'll notice there's some extra unboxed discs. I've got Modern Warfare 3, which I can't find the case, and some random DVRs. So we'll move those. Here's what I'm talking about. Games that I should fit in here, but I can't. I don't have room, and it doesn't... I'd have to adjust this entire shelf because it's alphabetical, and so I'm just stacking the Kinect stuff that I rarely ever use anyway there. Down here under this shelf, what do we got? Got our FIFAs, our Gears of War, our Guitar Heroes, our Halo collection. This is every Halo on 360. My favorite probably being Reach. I don't know. I really enjoyed Reach. I liked ODST a lot. 3 was fun, but Reach is probably my favorite. I know it's the newest, and not the multiplayer is my favorite, but single player is probably my favorite campaign. Homefront, Kane and Lynch, I like Noir. Great game from our channel's past. Left 4 Dead, some of my favorites. Some Lego games, Lollipop, Madden's, Mafia. Mass Effect here. I don't have Mass Effect 1, unfortunately. Again, a drain of the great game sale of when I would sell everything in order to get new stuff. Mirror's Edge, one of the most overlooked games available this generation. If you haven't played it, you've got to. This is probably $5 to $10. Fantastic story, fantastic example of a game that doesn't have to be 20 hours to be incredible. I love it to death. Actually, that belongs here. Some NBAs, some Need for Speeds, NHL, Ninja Gaiden, Orange Box. I remember getting this. I had no experience, if you can believe it, with Valve previous to this. I never had played Half-Life. I never had played Team Fortress. Never had played anything. This is my first experience with Portal, my first experience with Half-Life, and I fell completely in love. Half-Life 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and Portal 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. And thankfully, Portal 1 introduced it to me, and we have backing it right up, Portal 2. Prototype, Rage, Rayman, Reckoning, Red Dead Redemption, a great game. Probably my favorite Rockstar game of all time. Resident Evils, Rock Bands, and then we move down to the end of my 360 collection, which is merged with all the other system shelves. Got Saboteur, Shaz the Dam, Silent Hill, Skyrim, Sonic Generations, Soul Calibur, Spec Ops, Spider-Mans. These are always fun. I think it's interesting that how they did these boxes. Like, which game would you think would be more fun? So the Spider-Mans, I don't know. I think they're pretty cool. This one's actually, I think, my favorite of the three. I like being Noir Spider-Man quite a bit. I did not like 2099, but I like Amazing and Noir quite a bit. I enjoy the new Spider-Man game too, but we'll stick those back before Splinter Cell, split second, some Street Fighter, Syndicate. I'm going to move these so you can see the end of my 360 collection, which goes Transformers. This one is terrible. Dark of the Moon is no good. But War for Cybertron is fun. Marvel vs. Capcom Vanquish. Viva Pinata. This is a game I've always wanted to bring to the channel. I think it would probably be boring to watch. I don't know. But it really took up quite a few hours when these released. Wanted and a lovely sealed copy of Witcher 2 that has never been opened, unfortunately. From there, we're going to move on to Wii because that's what's easily available. We'll save PS3 for last. I don't really have that many Wii games compared to 360. I really don't have any other system compared to 360. But I've got my Boom Blocks, my Dead Space Extraction, Donkey Kong Returns, Epic Mickey, Excitebots. This is a game that not many people know about or talk about. It's actually super fun. It looks like you're playing with like little baby Lego toys, but it's not like that at all. It's really a great racing game. We've got Fortune Street, which is a weird Monopoly Mario hybrid. It's very boring. GoldenEye, Kirby's Epic Yarn, Skyward Sword, great game. Wish I finished it. I don't know, it just kind of got boring. Mario Kart Wii. This is where Wii sort of went bad for me. I really wanted to love Mario Kart Wii, and I just really didn't enjoy it. From there on, it just kind of went downhill. But, like with games like Mario Sports Mix, what a stinker. But Mario Strikers Charge is potentially my favorite Wii game. I love this game a lot. It's a soccer game, and it plays wonderfully and is a whole lot of fun. It's still worth pulling out, and I should probably play some more. Monster Hunter Tri. Never tried this. As you can see, it's one of my rare GameStop. I don't really like to shop at GameStop. I don't really like them very much, but sometimes it's a necessity. New Super Mario Bros. No More Heroes, Rhythm Heaven Fever, Mario All-Stars. This is the 25th Anniversary Collection, which is pretty fun. The Galaxy games, gosh, games that I really wanted to love more than I did. I really enjoyed them. I know they're great games, but just didn't fall in love with them the same way I did with Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine. Gosh, sneezing. Smash Brothers Brawl. I waited for this game for so long and was so looking forward to it. And I don't know if it's just age or just desire or just what my likes and dislikes were, but I just did not have anywhere near as much fun with this one as I did with past Smash Brothers. Me and my brothers would make huge like rosters and pick characters and have basically like drafts. I'm like, okay, I'll take Mario, you take Wario and have drafts of characters and then battle them out and set up our matchups and make tournaments. It just doesn't happen as much with this game. Tiger Woods, Wii Play. This is Wii Sports in here. Xenoblade, this is another import. The PAL version of Xenoblade Chronicles. Never really got into it, though. It's RPGs. I have such a tough time with RPGs. I want to love them. I so do, because I liked them a lot when I was younger. I played Final Fantasy VII, played, like, Tales games, Tales of Symphonia. Loved that to death on GameCube. Played some old-school RPGs as well back in the PlayStation 1, Game Boy Advance, that kind of era. But I always have such a hard time getting into them now. I don't know if it's just because they're slower paced, or because they're so long, or just because I don't have the same feeling of time where I can sit down for 3 hours and just play. But I really wanted to play this game. Zack and Wiki, another one of my potentially favorite Wii games. A weird mix between puzzle and, like, item find and weird solving and complete craziness. Something that they don't release very often. It's a really quirky game where you're given these huge maps and you basically have to solve all these puzzles to get to the end. So it's not puzzles like, oh, how do you make this, pipe work? It's like very 3D and real world, like just levels that you have to solve. So like, we have to get to the end of this level, and there's all these different elevators we're gonna have to get up and work around and hide from these guards and destroy this to be able to get here. And if, oh god, there's this fire coming out of this dragon's mouth, so we can't cross that bridge, so we have to figure out to turn off the dragon to get across the bridge. Very complex, very cool, pretty freaking awesome, and probably cheap. I definitely recommend getting that. We'll move on now to PlayStation 3, which begins with the bigs. One of my first PS3 games I got, Buzz Quiz World. Love the Buzz games. They come with the buzzers, trivia games. Really fun. One of the only, like, party games I really enjoy. Rock Band for me was never really a party game, but I like Buzz quite a bit. The Nefarious Dark Souls on PS3. I picked this up for PS3 because I was able to get it early, and then just finally got the 360 version and started it off there. But I trained a little bit on Dark Souls PS3, just getting used to the controls. DC Universe Online, Demon Souls, another one of my... this is why I don't replace games and adjust the the alphabeticalness. Demon Souls is another... Whoa, that was a weird pop. Another unfortunate GameStop acquisition, but one that I played before, sold, and then wanted to have back just because of my love affair with Dark Souls. The Final Fantasies for PS3, Hot Shots Out of Bounds, great golf game. Really a lot of fun. Eco Shell, The Colossus Collection, Infamous 2, wish I had Infamous 1. Same with Killzone 3, wish I had Killzone 2. Little Big Planet 1 and 2, good games. Motorstorm, Never Dead, Ratchet & Clank. Moving on down, we've got the Uncharted's here. I never actually played Uncharted 1. I had it at one point and sold it before I even had a chance to play it, which is a little bit sad. I know this video is running on, but I hope you're enjoying it. And I want to quickly just give you a little bit more information, which is some of my favorite games of all time. I've hinted at them before, but I've never really talked about it. And I'm not going to give you my full list, but I will give you two of them that are from this current generation. I hope you're enjoying this. It's fun for me, so I hope it's fun for you. Batman Arkham Asylum. I know I mentioned it before, but it's one of my favorite games of all time. Completely loved the demo. I was really nervous playing it. I heard good things on podcasts about it, and then just completely fell in love with the game. It was one of those rare games where I played 3-4 hours in a row, and I'm not normally that kind of gamer. You can tell I'm a really big gamer. You know I'm a really big gamer. I really love it, but I'm not like a marathon kind of gamer. It's not that I get bored. It's just I always have a lot of other stuff to do. I played sports. I have jobs and family and brothers I want to hang out with, and food to eat and sleep to sleep and stuff to do. So if a game can make me sit there for that long, it's definitely awesome. And that game just blew my mind. I like it actually way better than Arkham City. I was super stoked for Arkham City, but it just let me down. I hate to say that, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And I really like the linear style of Arkham Asylum more. I like the Asylum itself. I like the levels, the bad guys. I just had a better time with that. The other one that I'll give you from here, I would say Bioshock, so actually I'm going to give you three. I'll give you Bioshock because that is not here, but I will give it to you anyway, even though I don't have it here. And let's see, let's pick one more, because there's actually probably a handful from this generation that are my favorites, but what's a good one that I can give you that we haven't really touched much on? You know what, I'm feeling generous, so we'll give you four. We got Bioshock, we got Batman Arkham Asylum. These are probably the four from this generation, actually. Half-Life 2, and we'll move over here and pull out the legendary Uncharted 2, which is, I feel, a much better game than Uncharted 3. Again, another one that I completely marathoned through, and actually came out the same year as Assassin's Creed 2, and I always have a tough time deciding which was my game of the year, Uncharted 2 or Assassin's Creed 2. Both so phenomenal, both would easily vie for a spot in my top 10, but I think Uncharted 2 wins out just because it was such a landmark game in the sense of its epic scope, its epic story, and really just pulling me in completely to the environments and the dynamic levels that that Naughty Dog put in the game. So that's a couple of my favorite games of all time. I feel like we did a pretty good job of going through a lot of the ones I really enjoyed and going through some of my my crazy acquisitions along the way. As you guys know, like I said, with any game collection, it's hard to keep it going. It's hard to maintain everything. You see those people online that have 10,000 games or whatever, and that was never me. I purchased most of my games myself throughout my entire life. My parents were always in support of games, but never like, we're going to just give you all of them. They wanted me to do other things, and if I wanted games, I had to work for them. So I remember many hours spent with my, I mowed lawns a lot when I was younger, even when I was, 10, 11, 12, 13, and deciding how I'm going to use that money. Am I going to rent a game? Am I going to try to save up to buy a game? Things were so different back then, and I kind of miss that because it made games so special. Every little game, when your game collection is 6 games, every game means a ton. When your game collection is, over 100, it's not as special. But there is definitely something special about being able to have a lot of games, and I'm very grateful that I'm able to have them all. I hope you had a fun time watching this video and checking out my collection with me, from the hardware to the handheld to the console stuff. So, thank you very much for watching. Happy 200,000 subscribers from me to you. I appreciate all of you a lot. I love you all a lot. I'll have to brainstorm what to do when we get to 300,000, but we'll do something equally fun, equally special. So, hope you enjoyed sharing some time with me in my bedroom with all my games. Until next time, guys and girls, have a fantastic day. Drink some hot chocolate, and we will see you all later.